reading's been really great so far, so I will try my best to, wow, yeah. Here we go. We will be there. When final winds burst the sun's surface and buildings fracture into plates and panes, metal scraps, there will be exodus, chaos, some little deaths and burnings, but we'll be there. I keep thinking about this as I touch his skin, as I melt over his perfect round body and press his sleeping lips with my finger and run it around the crest of his briar-like beard. There are little beads of flesh knotted up in the hairs on his face, at the ridges on the back of his head. They are pulsing, bulbous planets. I explore the terrain of each one. He is okay with this and pretending to snore. When I lick at the underside of his neck, gently, timidly, he stirs and turns to me, and all of last night's stale weed tumbles out of his breath in cascading wafts. He gives me a breathy sup. It's practically the same nod he threw to me last night in front of Ling's Amazing Dollar and Banh Mi Emporium. Calculated, unsure, careful. Last night when I saw it, there was a small whirl of bustle around us. Crackheads and hoes basking in the pale light of the dimming street lamp. The soft night breeze kicking up pages of the city paper in a gentle tornado. Well, it wasn't exactly Garland and Kelly, but I could still hear him sort of singing in the night's light rain that pelted his face. This kind of low hum penetrating the wall erected by the sound of the music in his headphones. A piece of a drop rode his beard, first appearing like a soon-to-burst bloom, then sort of rolling down his chin in a dissipating advance. "What's up with you?" I responded. I coded it with a player's cadence and sort of whatever tone, while inside my blood quickened. He blew outwards and put his thick hands over his face. "Chillin'." He sighed, turned around and over the mattress, just standing there for a while, then drifting, suspended in the space-time continuum as a monolith, his watching, sleepy eyes slowly scanning the room for his drawers, his hands tapping out a rhythm on his bare, black chest, his lips mouthing a big L verse. I looked up at him from an upright position on the mattress. "Come back to bed," I could have said, I guess, but I felt a sort of unease at holding him there. He was a comet turned towards a wayward rock, submerged in space, a creature of Earth only by choice. He was the one who busted the windows in the delivery truck the Greek family had decided to park in the parking lot of the abandoned bodega. He was the one who pushed Cassie off of her bike when she pedaled home drunk after a night of dancing at Barbary. He was the one who stood in the middle of 52nd Street on Sundays, holding foil-wrapped incense in a black plastic bag, overflowing with bootleg copies of Tropic Thunder and Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah.
A red religion t-shirt draped over his grass hand and a fading decal fat farm pants. So I picked up a copy of Justice League, its cat-chewed corners and coffee-stained pages spreading colored ink over my hands. "Niggas always reading them comic books," he said, slipping his earphones on, heading towards the door. "Yeah," I said. "You can't put this in your zine." Evan almost spit out his expensive single brew coffee his parents had given him on his birthday, mailed from their trip to Ethiopia, where they were doing missionary work. He managed to get some of it on my notebook. "Cassie will flip." "What?" I asked, wiping the pages. "It's all true." "Sorry." I didn't know if he was apologizing for spitting or if he was just sorry. I looked at him for a second. His dotted white skin married into his black band t-shirt with white-out white unreadable font scrawled across it, his narrow, tight ass snug in his cut-off jean shorts. His ass was so small, the red handkerchief that dangled out of his left pocket almost covered it. He just looked up into the living room with his face in a sort of relaxed state of disbelief, as if the worst was over, and all that was left was to pick up and move on. I don't know, dude. I mean, isn't he that fat black guy that showed up to the Food Not Bombs and turned over all the pots? Guess he didn't like the potatoes and tree bark stew either. Why did they put onions in everything? I knew Evan couldn't resist talking shit about Food Not Bombs. I tried to keep the conversation going in that direction. Just enough to gather the things and get the fuck out of there for the day. It didn't work. "Yeah, well, if Cassie reads this, onions will be the least of your problem." "Thanks," I said, rolling my eyes, stuffing my notebook into his rucksack. "What does that say?" Evan looked down on his shirt. "Oh, this. It says disconto." There was a knock on the door. Khalida again. Evan did another spit take and pushed his way past me and up the stairs. "Don't fucking let her in, dude. Don't even go out there." Khalida stood on the porch waving a pointy long nail at a stray cat. Her hair was rolled up in curlers, her face sort of searching the streets, her lips pounding on a mix of inner gossip and "oh no they didn't" and a sweet news to the neighboring feline population. We will be there, I thought to myself, when the sun falls out of the sky. We'll raid the fresh grocer and the reinforced shopping cart, pull down stacks of canned beans together. We'll learn how to make guns from sticks and mortar and rubber bands, bombs out of aerosol and clay and industrial dishwashing liquid. I pulled back the Jimi Hendrix tapestry from the window, my hand touching the spot where someone had spray painted a red anarchy symbol on his afro. "Hello, Miss Kalita," I said through the glass. It sounded fake, me calling her Miss, the way the neighborhood kids did, as if I had unearthed an ancient scroll in which this distant form of respect had been etched out in a portentous cuneiform. She was no more Miss Kalita to me than Cassia Evanworth. "Can I help you?" "Well, baby, you can start by opening the door. I gotta talk to you." No sooner than I clicked the latch had Kalita pushed on the door. She nudged it a bit, then, stopping almost dead in her tracks, her nose sort of turning up, she grabbed my arm and pulled me outside. I looked back into the house as she extracted me from it. Layers of dust rode on layers of clothes draped over couches. A few roaches inched their way around encrusting pizza boxes. Someone had written "Satan is the source" in what could have possibly been feces on the wall. A painted blue mannequin with two dildos strapped to where its breast should have been stood in the corner under a lampshade. "I would come in," Kalita began, "but Miss Kalita has a mess of shit she needs to be there." We stood there on the porch for a second, two pulpy black things scanning the atmosphere. So, perturbed, Kalita said, "Look, I'm not getting into your business, but I saw you and that crazy man last night. I'm just going to come out and say it." My heart stopped. I lost all of my feeling in my legs. Had I left the blinds open last night? Were the scents and moans of the night before dancing down Cedar Avenue in breathy concert? Was Kalita spying on me? No, I remember. We came into my room under a blanket of nightness. I locked the door behind us. I checked the windows and blinds. They were all pulled down, completely shut. So I lay down on the mattress and submerged myself underneath his considerable weight. I could smell his crotch, a sharp, tangy musk, a gentle, organic coriander, but not impossibly inevitable. I slipped his cock into my mouth. I'd look up, and his face and eyes would squint as he watched something dance across the expanse of the ceiling. "I don't know what you mean." Kalita's face tightened up. A hardness crept over her that I'd never seen before. "I saw what you did." She gripped my wrist tightly, slightly twisting it under her long nail, digging into the meat. "Behind the alley." "Oh, the alley." "Sup," he said to me that night. "Chillin'. Sup with you," I replied. Wind, rain. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a blunt, letting a ball of lint, a stubbed pencil, and a condom wrapper hitch a ride, all of it landing on the street, blowing into the gutters to mingle with the other trash. Smoke the cell. So we walked. He sang lucidly through his headphones, his voice reaching uneasy highs. His voice reaching uneasy highs like the one guy in Earth, Wind, and Fire. We stayed a couple body lengths apart as we strode past check-cashing places, nodding cautiously at anyone we thought we might know. Maybe I saw Drake and Alice from the anarchist knitting circle. Maybe I saw Dave, who owned a 90s emo punk record label but was now president of the yoga co-op, ride by on his one scooter. Pushing against the wind, his mind ablaze with dreams of a perfect sun salutation. I don't know. But we ducked into an alley at the end of the street, blackened from the lack of street light, and quiet except for the hustle of crickets, just us and a blunt. A young boy pedaled by on a tricycle he had aged out of 3 years ago. "What's that?" he asked, not really pointing at the blunt, but kind of snatching it from me mid-puff. We let him get a hit and he rode off. I watched the kid pedal away in a weird state, pretending to be higher than he was. It was like he was a Spike Lee character that had wandered into a Lars Van Trier film. The thin blue lights of police cars reflected off the boy's glowing eyes. "Yo," he was up the street already. "Bring that shit." I caught up with him and absent-mindedly went in the direction of my place. We ended up there on the porch, trying desperately to link Mobb Deep lyrics to the fate of the universe, to glean cosmic intuitiveness from episodes of Short Tales and Get Along Gang. But the blunt had dried up, and all we had left to communicate was the wants and the desires of our bodies. "You don't be giving those young boys no drugs," Kalita nearly screamed. She hit me, and I don't know, something happened inside. It wasn't a real punch, just the kind of swat a church lady would give to her pastor after he told a dirty joke. Miss Kalita, please, I have a headache. I have to go worship Satan and butt-fuck a leprechaun. We'll just go there on some distinct iteration of shock. Kalita's shocked look morphed into shame and then to pity. She shook her head at me. I wonder what your mama would think hanging around with these heathens. My mother is dead, I told her, slung my book bag over my shoulder and walked up the street. Once up the block, I looked back and I saw Kalita standing there, her hands on her hips like a disinterested mom's mad lady. There was something about the way she looked in our front yard, littered with beer cans, with rusting pots Cassie used for vegan potlucks in the winter and food not bombs drives when it was warm. Kalita, standing against the debris of punk band flyers and against the backdrop of an upside-down American flag with corporate logos where the stars should be, that doubled as a curtain for our front window. A bird landed on her head, and I thought she looked kind of beautiful, and I laughed anyway. When I got to the A-Space, Cassie's Feminist Zine Fest committee was wrapping up. 4 women sat at the table with Agatha, the only black woman. She was looking at her phone, then rolling her eyes, her mouth agape. As I pushed the heavy door and was making my way toward a wall of drawers, I saw them passing around Agatha's phone. I opened the drawer and took out my microphone. For a split second, I imagined myself gripping his manhood. The idea of me pretending to bust rhymes as he busts all over my face had really turned me on. When I turned around, they were all staring at me. A hush crept over them all. Everyone was looking at me except Cassie, who sat there with her arms crossed, fuming. I watched their faces for answers. I just came to get my mic. Sorry to interrupt. Agatha got up and walked over towards me and brandished her phone. Yo, Alex fucked that weird black dude, floated on the screen in a piss yellow box. In the blue one, the letters WTF. I think you better go, Agatha said to me. I searched her hardened, rigid face for sympathy, and when I met her eyes, it softened. We, the two of us, Agatha and I, would still be here when the sky fell, when the dying would carry the dead out of the burning husks of monuments, and the rubble was picked through, when the electromagnetic fantasy and silicone dreamscape floated down the latex-choked grime of the last of the schuylkill. She'll extract aloe and elixirs from ginkgo berries, and when I puncture my heel with red, rusty, and infected metal barbs, Agatha will apply the balm mixed from the formula her mother scribbled in her own blood on the title page of the last George R.R. Martin novel. We'll be there together still. So she looks at me and says, just go. I put my mic in my bag and slung it low to shield my slowly softening semi. I hit the door and let it gently close. The day's air was saccharine on my lungs. I saw him digging in a garbage can. I nodded and he gave me a light wink. Sup, player? What are you doing? I'm looking for treasure. No, I mean, what are you doing? I don't understand, man. You're way too fucking smart for this shit. He looked at me with red eyes. His visage burned and steamed up through the tips of his afro. He dropped his plastic bag of DVDs and took a step towards me, gripping my arm and shoved it into my chest. Your inbox will be full of dreams, man, ripe with the fruit of this crazy world. His words were succinct, not laced with his usual casual West Philadelphia accent, the kind that burgeoned wildly in a black jungle, before Drexel changed everything, before Subway and brew pubs and house shows. You will pluck at it, but digest nothing. Nothing! At that, he gently pushed me to the ground, reading them comic books, he said, and returned to the fold, disappearing onto an oncoming trolley, riding away. Thanks a lot, guys.